I'm unemployable, I can't go work for somebody else now. So, I'll do this till the end for sure. I'm Dave van Ginkel. I'm a surfboard shaper. Started when I was at school, at a very young age. When I started surfing, I started repairing the surfboards, and then I started repairing my friends' boards. By the age of 15, I think I was the biggest repair shop in Cape Town, working for all the surf shops. I went from there. I started obviously progressed to shaping the surfboards, and same pattern. I started shaping boards for myself, then for my friends' friends, and it turned into a business. I taught myself how to shape surfboards. There was nobody really around. There was no YouTube. Now you can learn via YouTube, but at that time there weren't a lot of surfboard factories in Cape Town, and I looked at one surfboard and tried to make my one look like the one that I'd looked at. So presently, our main customers are the local industry. We still do ship boards out around the world, but I'd say 70% of our market now is the local market. In the big wave scene, I was very lucky to build boards for the best there were. Greg Long, Carlos Burle, Paul Patterson. At the time, Red Bull were having a Big Wave Africa event in Cape Town, and the world's best big wave surfers were brought here to Cape Town, and I was very lucky that they chose me to make the boards. So that's Matt Bromley. He still rides our guns. He's still prominent in the big wave scene. He's still invited to the Eddie Akai, the event at Jaws, which is like the premiership of big wave riding. Those events. The Red Bull Big Wave Africa was held at Dungeons every year. It's a premier big wave spot. I don't know why surfing attracts people. When we started surfing in the 80s, I started surfing in the 80s, it wasn't cool. It wasn't a cool thing to do, So I don't know why my parents moved close to the sea, and I think, I saw guys surfing and I thought, that must be fun. And then once you start riding waves, it's pretty hard to stop riding waves. It's a weird addiction. I'd say it's hard to put my finger on exactly what it is that attracts people to surfing or keeps people surfing. But there's definitely something, exercising in nature or connection with nature. You're riding a wave. It's a very special thing. So now it's more community-based. Yes, I say in the 80s it was a very small community in the 80s, and it's a very big community now. So the days of finding uncrowded surf are becoming harder. In the 80s, it was very like-minded people. Now everybody surfs. Your doctor surfs, your lawyer surfs, the plumber down the road surfs. I say in the early days, it was quite a select few that just surfed. What brings people here to surf? The quality of the surf, and ironically enough, it's still relatively uncrowded. There's still places you can surf with where that's not, when I say crowded, I'm talking about crowded in worldly terms, You can still surf with 30 people out, whereby in Australia, there's 300 people out. So I think that's one of the reasons why people come here. And obviously, I think the main reason, the quality of the surf. We've got incredible waves in South Africa. I've been lucky to work with incredible surfers. All of them are incredible. So they'll come to me and ask for one or two boards. We'll make the boards, and we either gel or we don't gel. The guys that are still here now, we've gelled with. They're still young, so they're working their way up to like these guys, the Eli Bierks, Geordie Marie, the Elkington brothers, Brendan Gibbons. So these guys aren't just sponsored by me now. They're sponsored by O'Neill, Hurley, Monster Energy. But they'll once they get to like 18 or 19, they'll start getting like proper sponsorship deals. They have to be liked surfers firstly. Obviously the way they surf's important. They've got to surf well, but I don't want to associate our product with a guy who's not liked. No matter how well he surfs. So good surfers. They don't have to necessarily be winning contests. We've got guys who win contests, and we've got guys that are very visible on social media, visible in the magazines. So you would buy a blank. Now, if you can see behind me, there's some blanks. And you would have templates, and you would shape the board by hand with an electric planer, and then get the resin and the fiberglass you could put on afterwards, and then it would get sanded, and it would get a finish coat, and the whole process took quite a while. Now I sit in an office on a computer and I design in front of a computer screen, and the machine in the back of the factory cuts what I've designed. Yeah. And as you saw earlier, it takes me 15 minutes to make it smooth, and then it goes to the laminator. From the laminator, that process hasn't ever changed. From when it started in the 60s or the 50s, when they started production of surfboards. That stage hasn't really changed. The advancements have been with shaping machines, new software, new materials. By changing the materials and the software, and that hasn't changed the lamination, sanding, finishing process. That's all still done by hand. So most of the color work and the designs and the sprays on the board are custom work. So a customer will come in, order a surfboard, and then say, well, we want this design on the surfboard. There's a bunch of good shapers in Cape Town. And the competition's good, it keeps us all sharp. I also have amazing team riders that I work with that keep me sharp, they make sure that they basically teaching me what's new all the time, I'm listening to the team guys, listening to what they want, what their needs are, they want to go faster, they want to do bigger airs. So I'm learning from them all the time, I can't surf like them, and I have to trust them, Bigger isn't always better with the surfboard industry. If I employ another 4 or 5 people, because we're busy at the moment, or this year, we're the flavor of the month, everybody wants DVG surfboards, that's great. In 6 months' time, that workload might go away, So, it's very tricky. So if we get busy, we bring in 1 or 2 guys, but not permanently. My business is I try and keep it really simple. Obviously, you can't avoid taxes, but other than that, I find it's not too complicated, I employ a company obviously to do the back-end paperwork of the taxes and all of that. Also, the surfboard industry, the margins are small. They can't tax you heavily, if that makes sense. We're not making, this really is, you've got to love what you're doing here, because you're not making loads of money. You're never going to be super wealthy making surfboards. But I get to work here, I live really close by. I choose that rather than making money. The fact that I've made it this far, I'm kind of proud of. But I can't single out a surfer that I've worked with that we've had success, like I say, with the world's best. But I've also had success with, guys who not necessarily the best surfers in the world, but really just love the boards we make them. My most proudest moment in my career. Sure, hopefully it's still coming. I don't know. I really feel blessed in the sense that I am living my dream, I'm not a pro surfer, but I get paid to make surfboards, so it's not, it's not far off. I really am living the dream.